Good evening, everybody.
Yo. Welcome to the Real Loving Basketball.
It's Thursday, August 20th, and we have got some good guests on for today.
Absolutely.
Special
you
guests.
Giving a date, though?
I gotta let people. We don't know when people will be watching this. If it's replayed and we got a date and stuff on it, they'll know it's August 20th.
Yeah. Shout out to y'all watching the replay. Shout out to y'all that's watching the live.
Yeah,
and all that good stuff.
Everybody who's been committed, our one follower, thank you very much for your full commitment.
We had more than one.
I'm just
we had two.
Anyways, we're excited to have these special guests on today. We got some good topics to talk about today, but first, let's get into these current events.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It has been nothing but NBA all day, every day. I don't know if y'all have realized, but literally there's been games almost like full day, starting in the early afternoon to the evening time. We have been just basketballed out. So what's your highlight? Who's your highlight?
I'm highlighting Dame Dollar.
What up, Dame?
Dame Dollar, the 6'1" assassin, is killing.
Holla at us.
Yeah, making problems in the studio, killing it on the records.
Now that's a good time. But before we get to that, we'll talk. Let's finish highlighting Dame. Yo, Dame is killing it, and then on top of that, we got to give respect. So I don't want to hear no dramatics because I know everybody gonna have something to say with Golden State, but I will give Dame his props for sticking with his squad and literally saying like he has opportunities to go to other teams. And he has stated he's sticking with his squad, so I can't get mad at it.
Yeah, I mean he could have left, man, but he's hard nosed. And one of the things he talked about was where he's from. He's from Oakland, and he was just talking about. I think Melo. He came on Melo's podcast, and Melo was asking him questions, man. What makes you so real, and what makes you be authentic to yourself and stick with your team, but also too, if somebody talk bad about you, you going crazy on them, right? And hold your own. And he's really talking about how he's from Oakland and how he holds it down and how he was brought up to be like that. And it's really showing now. I'm just excited for him. I want to see him win the whole thing because how he's doing it the right way. So I think it's only appropriate, to show some highlights.
Oh my God!
Him busting LA.
How did I know he was gonna have some more on this little contraption that he wants to sit here? Go ahead, blast him.
He's balling out, so check it out.
Dame, 1 second left to shoot from three. Damian Lillard buries the three, and the Blazers pull within one possession. Pace really starting to pick up in this one. Dame will use two screens from well beyond the arc. Damian Lillard with the splash has tied it up at 87.
Dame has two screens up top. Dwight Howard's not coming way out there.
Dame from deep waters. Damian Lillard. It's Adult Swim, folks. Get out the pool.
This is not how basketball was meant to be played. That's a screen barely in front of the logo. They're running pick and roll a few feet past half court. This is far from regular.
Yo. One more time.
All right. You're doing
from the logo, man. We're going to start calling him Logo Man.
Well, anyways, but my point that I was going to make prior to that is he's another athlete that I can respect that raps. Like he actually has some good hits that I rock with, and that's very hard for me to come by when it comes with basketball players trying to become rappers. And that has been the conversation we have had a lot lately. Why do y'all, and I say y'all because if y'all don't know, D-Tal used to be a rapper back in the day before he found Jesus.
Y'all. Hey, it go hands in hand. It's entertainment. Like the whole culture of basketball and hip hop, it goes hand in hand even from the fashion. When guys are walking through the studio and they looking fresh, is all a part of the culture.
I would not claim that because you got some people walking around here like Russ with these outfits. You gonna claim that?
Nah,
exactly.
That's
My
a
point.
little bit different.
Exactly my point. So if that's the case, if it's the culture and everything, why ain't the whole bunch of females doing it? Ooh, see?
What you mean, rapping?
See? Yeah.
Singing.
See? Who's singing?
Singing.
Who's singing? Who? What? WNBA player?
Modeling. All
that's
that
I
stuff
give you
is
modeling.
It's just a different lane. That's all it is.
You're
still doing something different out of the confines of basketball.
The point is, why do y'all ball players want to be rappers? Or all of a sudden rappers become hoopers? This is just a question. That's the question for the day. So y'all make sure y'all hit us and comment about that.
Hey, we're gonna do a whole segment on that.
We might even have to ask our guests real quick and pick their brain on that real quick.
Yeah. Hey, look, make sure y'all sharing this live. Share it with 10 people. Let them know that the Real Love and Basketball on a special edition with the voices of John R. Lewis High School and all that good stuff. So make sure you share it. But she's got a text in earlier, and they say, hey, y'all can really tell a little bit about how you guys met and stuff like that. I said we did that before, and we probably do it again, but I can give you a little glimpse into, you know what I mean?
No, you're not about to play no videos. No, what video you about to play?
This ain't a current event, but it's so funny that this is how we met, man. We played one-on-one. This is kind of what happened.
This is not how we met, and I know exactly what clip.
Let me see the ball. Man, so you know you don't know how to play no basketball. Everything. You don't know how to play. Let me dunk it. Man, you can't dunk, Charlie. Let me dunk. Man, watch your man. Check up then. Check up then. Man, come on, check up. What are you doing? Check up the ball, man. You playing too much. Oh my God! Don't do that, man. You playing? Knock your ass on, but this ain't no football. You know what it was? Check up. Come on, bro. Let me see what you talking about. Check up. Drew the ball, bro. Check up the ball, bro. You don't even know what you're doing. Check up. Bro, come on, bro. You fouled. Check up. Bro, you fouled, bro. Oh! You so off me. Get off of me. Do not put your little willy on me. I ain't gonna put your willy on me. Trying to put that on you. You sorry anyway. Pussy, don't play at me. Get the ball. I ain't to get the ball. Stop playing me. Get the ball. Got the ball. Come on, bro. Stop playing me. Get the ball. I ain't playing with you. Get the ball. I bet you on go. Come on. Go. I'll let you go. Go. I bet you on go. I bet I do. Come on. Yeah. Nutriverse.
That is
that's kind of how it went, man.
Lies. Oh my gosh.
All of the place
oh my God. Hey, if Vano was watching, Vano, tell everybody how he got mad when I sat here and beat him in a game. When I did that one move and he came back and he said, yo, you better not ever do it again. That's when he put a ring on my finger right then and there. But anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. We got some good guests. I know they sit in the waiting room waiting. So let's get our John R. Lewis people popping. Let's get them in here. Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, guys.
Bring them out.
Welcome to the Real Love and Basketball. We are so excited to have you guys. How are you guys doing this evening?
We're great. Well, thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Oh, listen. Now, if y'all been watching, y'all see that we come with a lot of energy. So y'all gotta come a little bit better than that.
Match our intensity. Let's go.
Hey, I will vouch that in the gymnasium, Lee does be dogging Daryl in the court. So
thank you. I appreciate all of that.
Hey, come on, man. You do it like that, bro. Come on, man. I don't want to embarrass him in our own school. In our own gym.
Christian do better than they'll do sometimes. I don't know.
I'm just saying. I mean, he gets it from his mama, so it's all good. Well, anyways,
we will start trouble already.
We definitely appreciate you guys coming in. We got the faculty and students from the newly named John R. Lewis High School. Woo! So this is going to be a good conversation because we're about to pick your brain. Let me give you background. Daryl has got a whole bunch of little gifts and tricks and stuff on here that y'all will see. If you could see our little studio area, he likes to just do extra. So just FYI, when you hear these random noises, yes. This Norfolk State right here. So
Hey,
Behold.
hey, Principal Smith, you know, behold, you know what it is.
I got
he
you.
ain't green and gold.
Hey, it don't matter. Behold, it don't matter.
Oh my gosh. All right, so let's go around and get you guys to introduce yourselves and your position and maybe some special fact real quick. So let's start with our student, our only student representing. She is our next Michelle Obama. She's going to Yale, Harvard, all these big time schools. So let's start with Miss Kimberly. Kimberly, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Boateng, and I'm going to be a rising senior at John R. Lewis High School. And this past year, my junior year, I was the 2019-2020 student representative to the Fairfax County School Board.
Hey, you better get it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I like
That's
fun
what I'm
facts.
talking about.
That's big.
I mean, fun fact, for those who want to know, I'm in the marching band, so a lot of people don't realize that when they talk to me.
There you go.
What was that?
Diversified.
That's right.
I'm in the marching
All
band.
Right, oh, are you?
What?
Oh, are we talking about like what's the movie with Nick Cannon?
Drumline.
Drumline. We talking about one of them.
I mean, I guess not that much flavor, so to speak, but I played the flute. So I wish I was talented enough to play drumline, but now I'm in the flute section.
I was about to say you could have joined an off-state band, but you say you ain't got no flavor. You gotta have that flavor to be in the Legion.
All right, let's go on to Miss Tara.
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Tara Charity. I'm currently an English teacher at John R. Lewis High School.
Yes.
This is starting my 4th year. I've been in Fairfax County Public Schools for 21 years, and our kids are awesome. That's
fact. That's facts. That's facts. I can agree.
Our kids are awesome. They're resilient, and I enjoy them. I love them, and we're about to make some more history and get in some good trouble.
Agreed. All right, let's go to Miss Fulmore.
Hey everyone. So I'm Marcella Fulmore. I'm the school social worker at Lewis High School.
It's a natural.
We're gonna get it there. Okay, at the new John R. Lewis High School. And I am a Spartan. I have been in social work for 25 years now, and I've been in FCPS this is my 18th year at FCPS. So my fun fact, which a lot of people at school know, but everyone doesn't know, I'm also a personal trainer. So I help with the mental and the physical health.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. Let's go over to the Coach Pilson.
Hello. I am Eric Pilson, the head coach at John R. Lewis High School. I am going into my 6th year as the head coach at John R. Lewis. I'm trying to bring some bigger and better things this year. Fun fact about me, a lot of people may or may not know, but I am a PK, I'm a preacher's kid, and I am actually also a minister. So a lot of my foundational beliefs are in our football program based on those beliefs and so on and so forth. So.
And everybody knows it because he blasts Christian rap 24/7, which is not a bad thing. I'm just saying. All right, and last but not least, the man of the hour, the head honcho of the school. Woo, we about to put you on a hot seat today, baby.
I should have wore a shirt and tie.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Alfonso G. Smith. I am the proud principal of John R. Lewis High School. I've had the opportunity to come over to the school since January 2020. So I'm the newbie of the group. Just got there, had a wonderful opportunity to start meeting some of our wonderful students. Actually had a dance encounter with Ms. Boateng there as I was in the midst of my application. So we happened to meet at an occasion where she was speaking. So that was fun, just knowing that what might be on the horizon as I was getting introduced to her. I'm from North Carolina. Just as I take a look at your set there, the first sport that I actually was introduced to was boxing.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
In the background there, that was one of the first athletes my dad introduced me to. One of the first heroes that he introduced me to.
Okay.
Amazing, man.
In love with basketball. So it was first boxing. He's a boxing coach, a Hall of Fame boxing coach in North Carolina. So.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
So you got the hands then, huh?
That's exactly what I was about to say.
You know, we can use different methods to do what we need to do.
All right, so let's jump right on into it. So we went from Robert E. Lee High School to now John R. Lewis High School. I mean, and this might be, these questions might be for Mr. Smith, unless some of y'all got some plugs. But like, how long did this whole name change take? Like, because the last thing that I checked, like it was still in the process and voting and this, that, and the third. And then next thing you know, boom, we got a brand new school name that came out of nowhere. So.
Well, that was a lengthy process. So I'm gonna defer a little bit because like I said, I came on the scene in January. So there's pieces that I actually saw from January until the end. But to be perfectly honest with you, between Ms. Boateng and Miss Charity and Miss Fulmore, they've seen this now for a couple of years. It's something that I've always heard about on the outskirts, where you would hear that there was some conversations going on about the name. But I've been in Fairfax County now for almost 20 years and over 20 years as an employee at this point. And so it's one of those things that I've heard about, but you really didn't see any type of traction in terms of with an actual change truly taking place.
Right.
So,
right.
That's my personal opinion, just from some of the things that I've seen over the last 6 to 7 months. I just think that this is the time. A lot of things happen for this moment. A lot of tragic things have happened. I think for people to really start paying attention to a conversation that I think many have been having for many years, and that's really fallen on deaf ears.
Do you think that the injustices and everything that has been going on this year alone is a lot of the reason that sped up the process for the name change?
Well, I believe so. I believe everything has happened at a divine time. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, my personal opinion, from the social injustice to the pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. Kimberly, you look like you have something. You wanted to add something. You were shaking your head like.
Yeah. I defer. Let her go.
Yeah. So this past year, for me being on the school board around the time where there were talks about the name change, a lot of the stuff where like a lot of information was kind of coming through me, and a lot of people were asking me about information. And I'll be completely honest too. So I came to what's now Lewis in my sophomore year. So my brother actually came through here his entire high school career, but I actually went to a different school my freshman year. So when I came back to Lewis, I was like, everyone's like, oh yeah, I heard there was a little bit talks about this. I feel as if the name change and prospects of the name change has always kind of been up in the air since my brother was in high school. So he's been out of high school about 3-4 years now. And back then they were even talking about that. So when formerly named Jeb Stuart High School got renamed, they were looking at us too, like, all right, this one next up. And they're like, oh no, I don't know about this. So this has been in talks and in works for years, but there are certain things that were slowing it down. And there were the process actually got started up again. It got started to move to rename the school about in March this past year. That is when it got started up. And because when the the pandemic hit and everything kind of got shut down, the school board refocused their energy, rightfully so, to different things like food distribution and getting things for students. So at that point, me and other leaders who have been pushing for the name change, we kind of okay, well, let's ease off of them a little bit because they have their mind somewhere else. But when it came to about, I think it was June, and everything has been slowing down, and very clearly there's more, energy to be spared someplace else. Me and my friends were like, this is taking entirely a long time. And that's when a lot of the movement started coming up, and everyone was like, okay, what's going on? And we saw things with different counties, things getting renamed, statues getting taken down. And then we kind of sat there, we're like, what about us? So I feel as if other leaders, me included, started putting different types of pressure. like once again to restart the process. Like we started before, why aren't we doing it again? Like we have more energy now, we have more time to do it now. Let's get it going. And I think if that pressure and that kind of media attention kind of like, put pressure on the school board to kind of, I bet they already had I bet they already had ideas like, let's keep it going, but it did, I feel as if speed it up and kind of like, oh yeah, we need to do this now.
What about you, Miss Charity?
Well, just to also reiterate on what Kimberly said, I arrived at Lewis in 2017. And even at that time, there were talks that our name would be changing or may be changing, and that it was being discussed within the school, with the school board. So that, for me, has been a 3-year process. And knowing that we might be on the docket or might be next after Stewart was always underlined, but it was never brought to the forefront. But one of the most ironic things, and that I think is so fitting, is the fact that we read as an entire building John Lewis's graphic novel, March. We read volume 1, I believe. And so the entire school from 2017 on, anyone that was enrolled had a personalized copy of the book. And so we read it during advisory. We did lessons on it. Everyone in the building was aware. So it was just so fitting. I was jumping up and down when we found out that that was going to be John R. Lewis. And it was already a name that had been suggested prior to his death. So
I'm glad you said that, because I was wondering where did that name come from? Because
it was already, I know that our superintendent, Dr. Brabrand, had that was one of his suggestions. Clearly, students, and then when we had our feedback from the community and input from the community, there were all different suggestions from people in the community. John R. Lewis has always been floating around, but it was just so fitting. And what people didn't know is that the majority of our students who were enrolled at that time knew exactly who that person was.
Right. And I think that's awesome. Marcella, how do you feel about the change?
I think it's great. Like I said, I've been there I've been only at Lewis since I've been in Fairfax County Public Schools.
Oh, wow.
I used to share with the elementary school, but for the past, I want to say, I don't know, I was there 5 years and then I went full time at Lewis. So I've been there a long time and I've seen the change in the population. So the diversity change in the population. And as Kimberly stated, when justice changed, they were also talking about changing our name, but the traction wasn't there. And I think for the county, a lot of it falls back on, I feel like, funding, because it was a lot of funding that goes into changing everything, that went into changing everything at Justice. So it's really been the students. The students are the best advocates for our school. They really stood up and pushed the name. And as Ms. Charity said as well, every one of our students, they had a copy of the book. During that summer prior, we were all supposed to read March, the staff. So everyone was already aware of who John R. Lewis was and what he did and how his power made change, And so I feel like our students are the change agents. They are making the change for our society. These youth out here nowadays are doing way more than I did at 17. So
yeah, that's true, 100%.
With all of the movements going on. So
right.
I think it's phenomenal that it's been changed and we can have someone represent. We can have a school who has a name after someone who really stood for making positive change and positive impact in other people's lives.
100%. I think it's amazing. I think the whole change, I was hyped, like just because of everything that was going on top of that. Like when it happened, like you can ask me, like I was in this house, like Oh yeah, we
Right.
rolling now. And it's so fitting for our school because I feel like in Fairfax County, our school and maybe Annandale is probably one of the most diverse schools in the whole county. So it needs a name that represents and stands for that. So I think it was. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. What about? Okay, so let's go ahead and get a little hot seat real quick.
Oh.
We got a bomb name change, right? Then we go to this logo. What are we doing? So we're keeping, what is the representation with the Lancers? How do you guys feel about it staying John Lewis Lancers, Eric Pilson?
You had to ask me. I've been coaching for 6 years, and the logo has always been an issue at John R. Lewis because every sports team, every organization always had a different logo to represent the school and the mascot. A couple years ago, there was a competition held, and it was actually around about the same time as they were talking about changing the name of Lee to a name. I even got interviewed by Washington Post about being the head coach at Robert E. Lee High School. Never got published because I came with some facts. But I had to, man. They try to get a little clip from me to say something out of left field. I was like, no, I'm educated. So, but no, I still do believe that, as my personal feeling, I think Lancers is still synonymous with Robert E. Lee High School. It's one of those things that is still connected. It doesn't. The logo itself is a knight, and there's some good qualities and characteristics that a knight should have that I from my standpoint, with my players, I try to teach them from a character and leadership standpoint to be a Lancer, to be an ambassador for the kingdom, defending the castle. Those are some things I say in my speech. So those things that I use in mascot forward to help build them from a character standpoint. But I also do feel though that could have been changed. I think it will give more fire to the furnace of the push for John R. Lewis High School and the students and the community. That's just my take on it.
Anybody else want to chime in on that? Oh, we all gonna stay quiet on here.
Well, I probably should be the one to go. My opinion with that, it's just as we have going through the name change process. It's been a divisive process. I think there's some similarities as you look at everyone in your panel who are here, and so there's some things that I think that we share in realizing how offensive a name of a Confederate general was, for a school.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone didn't share in that same offense. If you're being perfectly honest with you.
Right.
So one of the things, as we had the different names that were on the table, and there were 6 names that were on the table, to where, again, and myself included, John R. Lewis was not the first that came to mind. And I don't mind just sharing with you why, because as the school had gone through a history of being in such a divisive mindset,
mm-hmm.
the thing that I was looking at the time was I just want something that everybody's going to unite to.
Right.
I want everybody to be proud of the name of their school and to get behind what the name of the school was. And again, you've got a bunch of different opinions. So as we came with the power of John R. Lewis, once that was actually the decision that was made, my hope was that a lot of people would go ahead and jump behind that. And so in terms of holding on to the Lancer and knowing that the Lancer is about being a fighter, and knowing that Mr. Lewis was a fighter as well, there's some parallels that are there. I wouldn't be honest if I wouldn't say to you, some of it is a thing with some of the people,
mm-hmm.
to really have some of their school to be able to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
What I was hearing at one point was, hey, we like to hold on to our mascot and we like to hold on to our school colors. So I tried to dig a little as much as possible and see, did I find a lot of offensiveness with Lancers?
Mm-hmm.
And definitely not to the same degree that it was with with our previous name. But again, a situation where you're trying to have a wide variety of people get behind your school and become as one. You know, so that was the decision that I know that I made in terms of with keeping the mascot and the colors.
How do you think this change will affect our students and our community overall?
Well, what I can tell you just in terms of with my position, the name change is only one step. What we've got to make sure to do, you know, with the position of impact and leadership that I'm in, I've got to make sure, starting with my staff, that we represent the views of really being about all kids.
Right.
We can talk about it from a race standpoint. We can talk about it from an ability standpoint, socioeconomic standpoint. But the reality is we've got to be about all kids. And, you know, just with the way that some of the systems are set up in a school system, much like the other systems that exist, if we're not careful, we can fall prey to not doing what's best for all kids.
Right.
Where the fact that we have diversity is a great thing, except for sometimes, you know, oftentimes your greatest strength is also your greatest challenge. And I that's one of the things. We have a lot of different people come from a lot of different backgrounds, dealt with a lot of different strife, a lot of different, you know, some have had no strife, some have had strife that's unimaginable.
Right.
And everything in between. And so we're tasked with doing what's best for all.
Right.
And not until you really start breaking that down. Everybody believes that you're doing what's best for all, but when you really start pulling back some layers, especially even we as adults have to start doing some self-reflection that's tough.
Right.
The same self-reflection that we ask our students to do, we have to be that example and that model. And that's a process, but we started.
Agreed. Anybody else want to chime in? Kimberly, since you are a student, how has it affected you? Well, let me say, you were part of the Washington Post that posted you guys spray painting and putting all kinds of mess on our property, weren't you?
I don't know about all that, but
what is this?
That's new to me. But in terms of like me being a student and what the name change kind of meant to me, so this past year has been like, you know, in terms of the name change, has been a really drawn out thing for us. It's been really drawn out thing for me and my friend Khadija, for my friend Luna, who also spoke at many school board meetings. And for us, I think when we came, like a lot of people asked us this, there's like a couple of like interviews we did, and they asked us like, how did you feel about it? And I said like, well, I'm kind of tired. Like it was kind of tiring. And everything that Mr. Smith said about this being a start, I 100% agree. When we were talking about the name change, people asked like, why you even want the name change to begin with? I'm like, because I want something that's going to represent me. That name did not represent me. And I'm very proud now of our name, because I feel as if it can represent every single person in our school, because our school, like Mr. Smith said, is super diverse. I think I've met some of the most resilient people that came out of high school. So I'm really proud that the name got changed to somebody who like embodies the idea of resilience and the idea of strength. And I'm excited because I feel as if it kind of like the name change and like the fight for the name change kind of like rejuvenated a lot of students, and also gave a lot of students like the knowledge to know that they can help change something. Because I feel as if a lot of the name change stuff, a lot of stuff was kind of like led by students too. There's a lot of students that came to the public hearing. Like it was like the first half hour was just students speaking back to back.
That's awesome. And
that was really powerful. And I feel as if that really inspired other students. And there's other students doing other things. Like I know there's this Diversify SCPS project going on, trying to get books from like different backgrounds and the main characters for that, so that we have books for students that I can see myself in a book, so I can see my friends in the book, you know, see different people in socioeconomic backgrounds and books that we read in the classroom. We shouldn't take until my IB literature class for me to get a story about a West African child.
Yeah, that's dope.
So I feel as if like this is really exciting. A lot of people are pumped up and realizing that we do deserve more. Yeah. And I'm excited that we're all seeing this now and kind of fighting for it.
You know, one thing that I admire, and I hope that this part that I'm about to highlight, that you really take and carry it with you, is when you said, when the people were interviewing you, how you feel about everything, and you said, I'm tired. Mm-hmm. But that statement is so powerful, because if people, kids like you understand what it took to just get to this point in life, not even talking about John R. Lewis. We're talking about just having rights, having the ability to be able to do the things that we were doing. The people who made and paved the way had to keep fighting. And what do you think their response was when they got asked? I'm tired. But through that tiredness, they continued to persevere. And now look at what's happened. You know what I mean? So I think that mindset, like that story, that part of your story, I would love for you to continue to build and continue to tell and let your fellow peers know, yo, you're gonna be tired. Change to have change is gonna create tiredness. Nothing comes easy. You gotta fight for everything that you really, really want. If it comes, this is what me and D say all the time. If it comes easy, that if everybody can do it, it's not worth it. Period. If everybody can do it, why are we going through it? When you gotta fight for it, that's when there's value behind it. So I think it's amazing. I think that's dope. So anybody else want to speak on that?
So I will. As far as community, so I was really pleased to see the community forums and how many students spoke out. But also, since the name has changed, I've received texts and emails from former students that I've worked with asking how do they get their diploma changed.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Oh yeah.
As Mr. Smith said, there's some people in the community who's like, why are we doing this? We shouldn't do this.
Right.
We're going to have those people. But as diverse as our student body is, we needed somebody who represents everybody, somebody who was out there trying to make change for equality. And the fact that we have former students reaching out to us saying, how do we get our diploma change? We want a new name. And I even looked at Facebook posts just from the general public, from students I didn't even know, or from years ago, and people asking about how do they get their diploma changed because they would like it to reflect somebody who stands for everyone.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So we have some questions coming in. And this question is kind of, it's a two-part, but it's kind of piggybacks off something I was going to ask you guys later. But somebody asked, with the name change of the high school, how do you think it will, or how long do you think it will take to rebuild the reputation you had before? Now, before y'all answer that, my part to that was going to be, do you feel like you hold now a new responsibility with this name change, to you uphold now a responsibility to really carry this name out? And with the reputation part of it, I mean, for me personally, there was no reputation to really build on.
Exactly.
I mean, Lee was Lee. I grew up in Fairfax County. I played against Lee High School. When you heard the name Lee, it was automatic trash. Like, we're gonna smack them. That's it. So I think for me, that name, the new name, is gonna do a whole lot more than taking us back to an old reputation. But what do you guys think about that? What do you think about it? Do you think it's going to take us a while? Do you think do we have a new responsibility now because of this new name change? What's your thoughts on that?
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's according to what people, what that person means as far as reputation. Because again, I've been there for a long time, and I've had students who get to their senior year and say, "Oh, I wasn't going to come to this school because of what I've heard in the community." And what they hear in the community sometimes is negative things, because people look at our population, but we're doing great things at our school. We're graduating students. We're not a school who's not being successful. And then when they get there and they see all the diversity and how well they can integrate with each other and how everybody relates to everybody. When I first started working there, I couldn't believe how many different cultures were in that school, that one school, and how much I learned myself from the students. So I think they are in a richer environment. I think they're more prepared for college. They're more prepared for the real world, because the real world doesn't look like one race. The real world looks like everybody.
Yeah.
So that's the reputation they're talking about of our school not being the best school to be at. It is the best school to be at, or I wouldn't have been there as long as I have been.
Right.
Preach.
What you got, Ms.
We're going to continue living up to even a better standard, because we have a better name now, and we have to live up to. And with all the Black Lives Black Lives Matter things going on. When we talk about equality and we're looking at how we can be a change agent at our school and how we have to make sure everyone is getting fair and just treatment, and everyone is now, like Mr. Smith said, we're pulling back those layers and we're trying to do the work internally to make sure everybody understands their own bias as that student steps in their classroom. Things can only go up from here. So I think we're all ready to, have the best reputation in the county.
And and in addition to the name change, I believe that it's already starting to happen, and I want to, the point that I want to make sure to mention is someone like Kimberly, for instance.
Yes.
You have a student leader. And like I said, I don't believe that any of this happened by chance in terms of everything being what it is. To have a student leader on the school board during this particular time who is willing to be, and I know with the coaches on the room, comfortable being uncomfortable, because sitting in a room full of adults who have the power to make a lot of decisions in this county, and being able to look at them and say, hey, look, these are some of the things that are going on that are not right, that you're not speaking about, that have been talked about for years. We've been talking about my school name for years, and this is what our school looks like. And so when you start talking about that reputation, that's one of the things that does happen when you start talking about a heavy population of Black and brown.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we have, we call it, we're talking diversity, but in terms of our school, we're heaviest Latinx in terms of our population, followed by Asian, and Black and white are a small percentage.
This is the first. This is the first school that I came when I coached. I've been coaching for a while. It was the first team I had where literally I had one full Black girl, one full white girl. The entire rest of the team was all different backgrounds and races, and it was amazing. Like, you just never would have thought, but it's awesome. Miss Sharon, you had to say?
Well, it was a couple of things back, but I think one of the things when we talk about reputation is, when we listen, or if you allow the noise that occurs sometimes in the community, or the noise that's in the background, or the things that you hear about to affect your daily performance and the things that you do, I can say for sure from the moment I started teaching at John Lewis was that our staff members work hard to empower our students no matter who they are. They were doing that work. But I think now that our students saw that them coming together, having the community and community organizations, like, we had also community organizations backing our students and supporting them in a way that they didn't even think was going to happen, like the NAACP, and then we had other organizations in the county that were there standing by our kids, just like our teachers stand by our kids. And so it's not about so much changing the reputation. It's about now people will see the goodness that already exists there. And what we have to do as staff members is to uphold what that was, and also continue to build upon it and encouraging our students. And when Kimberly said she shouldn't have to wait until she's in an IB Lit class to get a book that is a little more challenging, I started year before last saying, well, you know what? The same book that I'm teaching for IBSL, I'm going to use that for my regular English 11 students. Okay. If I had a book that our other students weren't reading because it was for IB, and it was, we do have titles that were more challenging, or not just challenging, but titles that were more diverse for our International Baccalaureate program. I'm teaching it to everybody.
Yeah.
So we have to have our staff members begin to embrace that whole, those students can't do, all of our students can do. All of our students can do. And so therefore we need to hold their reputation, their expectations higher.
Yeah.
Not have that divisiveness within our own structure. And I think our students are pumped. I mean, they were on Twitter lighting it up.
It was.
I couldn't even go to sleep. But them coming together to see, hey, this does work.
Right.
You know? And then getting all kind of exposure and calls. And so we don't want to keep that momentum up. And, change doesn't happen overnight. It'll take a couple years to get to the point where people will genuinely see that we've been rebranded and that we are not anything of what we used to be in terms of reputation in the community.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping everybody takes this and hits the iron while it's hot. So we can start, so we could really, we could really do some things now with this name change. And there's so much that, so much impact that we can do. That's always been my thing when I came here was like, I just want to get our community involved so much more. We are in the heart, in my opinion, of Fairfax County. We are right in the mixing bowl. Everybody sees our high school. It's almost like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hollywood High School. Hollywood High School is right on Hollywood Boulevard. Like, it's a hot spot. So when you're that hot, you want people to see, you want people to represent, you want people to sponsor and donate and contribute and come out and support. Like, so I'm hoping that now, just off of a name change, that it sparked a new flame in everybody to like, yo, all right, now we got something really dope. We got a good movement going. Hey, let's really represent this school on a whole nother level. And it's just, that's what I'm hoping for after we get out of COVID.
And I think sometimes that's literally what it takes too. And I've been saying it for years about the Redskins, not to compare y'all to the Redskins, but like the Wizards, the Redskins. Sometimes it takes like rebranding or refreshing, a new thing to come to uplift. And I think I know this is the one, like Principal Smith said, like it's divine, like timing. It couldn't be a better time. Yeah. And I think I know you guys got the right nucleus to come in and be a game changer and really represent what John Lewis stood for, right? Let's go ahead. We got a question. Don't want to go past it, but do you think the name change creates more enrollment for the school moving forward?
I'm not sure if it, like, in terms of like enrollment, I feel as if, like, I think kind of piggybacking off the reputation question, I know a lot of people, when they thought about Lee, they also, some of the people who didn't know our community, who didn't know what we were like and how wonderful our community was, they only based on what their knowledge of based of our name. I know I had a couple of like parents that I talked to who said that they lived in the Lewis area. And at the time when it was Robert E. Lee, they didn't feel comfortable sending their children to a school that's named after the Confederate general. So I feel as if like people who the name might have like, I guess, pushed away, that won't happen in the future. But in terms of like enrollment, like purely because of the name, I'm not sure about that. But I do hope that in terms of like the reputation and us kind of going forward, because I feel as if like, I think much of like what a lot of you all said was how people look at us, and because we have like a lot of Black and brown students, and because a lot of our students are lower income students, people have this idea of what we're like, idea of like, oh, they're probably like this. Nobody talks about McLean and Madison the same way. And you see the difference between race, ethnic background, socioeconomic. And I think the fact that we have this spotlight is also wonderful because we were able to talk about it. I remember I put it on my Twitter. I talked about it, about the fact that I hope that the airtime we're all getting because of the name change kind of bring to light the fact that we get a lot of slack for things that really aren't us. And I hope that will bring people who I feel as if kind of been like, no one really talks about it as much. I feel as if some people do end up trying to like go to any other school because of what they think. I remember what Ms. Fulmore said about like some students didn't think they're going to come here, and some students will go out of their way to get a transfer for whatever. People transfer to Edison, people transfer to South County, not because we don't have what they want, because they just do not want to come to our school. Right. So I'm hoping that because of all this that's going on, all the positive energy that we're getting from the name change and all the things that's coming in for the future, I hope that it brings more people in. And maybe because of that, we do get more enrollment. But I think that logistically, I don't know too much about all that stuff.
Well, I think that's one thing that happens in time, though, and especially if you're doing a lot of great things. I've seen it from athletic teams to academic situations. If you have something really exciting that is being effective, it's like a magnet, and people are going to come. So I think we're you asked earlier about some of the pressure. I feel that pressure, and I feel it's a good pressure where we're carrying the the fact that we have the name of a high school that just doesn't exist.
I was just about to say that.
We're the first, you know, and I think anytime, you know, I was the oldest in my family. I was the first to go to college in my family, as well as my extended family, a lot of family in 757 area where I grew up. And, you know, I believe in doing first. Yes, yeah, I send a shout out there. You know, I believe in first, but the challenge that comes with being the first is, you know, there's some things that you got to do. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was saying even earlier, as we're doing some of the things that we're trying to do and working with our staff.
It's your horn right there.
We're going to work with our staff. We're going to work with our students. And I hope from the product that people see, it's going to be something that people are attracted to.
Yeah, and I know I liked you. That's our motto. Is gotta be comfortable being uncomfortable. We tell our students that, our players that all the time. What were you about to say, Eric? I saw you about to talk.
When you talk about the name change and, you know, people gravitating to the school, I mean, not only from a student standpoint, but me being in the football arena, there have been a lot of coaches who have reached out to me and who expressed their delight in the name changing, especially African and Black coaches. They're talking about they want to be a part of it now. It's like almost like the name before shy a lot of coaches away from it. And now I have coaches who say, now I want to be a part. Not only that, one of my coaches I used to coach with, he runs a T-shirt company, and there's people reaching out to him asking, can we get T-shirts named, you know, John R. Lewis High School T-shirts? I mean, that's for people who are not even in the area. These are people outside the area that know that John R. Lewis High School exists, that we changed the atmosphere in this area.
Yeah.
And so I think the energy is there. And as everyone said before me, you know, Kimberly, Miss Charity, Mrs. Smith, and Miss Fillmore, we got to strike it when it's hot, but we got to do it in a way that's very uplifting to all people and making sure we touch everyone's life, because that's what John R. Lewis did. Right. He wasn't just about the African American people. It's about all people, but he had to lift up his own people first, so other people can understand the struggle that they were going through.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah, I think that's a situation too. Like, and within our organization, CTEB, and within our own personal brands and what we just stand for, is like, how can I say it? Like, we want to be first, but at the same time, we want to do the things that really outside the box, to be able to connect to the students, to our players, and to our peers as well, like being taking on that leadership role. So I think now is a responsibility. I'm not even just talking about you guys. I'm talking about guys that's in your position to really stand for what John stood for, Mr. Lewis stood for, and not just say, hey, it's a name change. No, we're going to do the work. And regardless of what happens, we're going to stand in what we believe in.
Yeah.
Like, whether it takes us getting fired, whether it takes we got to step down from a position, like, we're going to do what's best for the kids. We're going to do what's best for what's good for the school. And to be honest, well, I mean, we can say it because this is our show, right? Our culture, that's who we are anyway.
Right.
Like, we diverse. We don't stand on just because you Black. No, we love people in the whole. That's just who we are. So I don't think that's the issue. I think just kind of being hard nosed and you know and doing it the right way, regardless of what the circumstances are. That's cool. That's what he stood for.
So I think, just to piggyback off of that, I think that means just we got to go beyond the So for me, the name change is a surface. Yeah. It's a surface appeasing. It's a surface. All right, you guys, we got a name change. We're done. No, now we have a responsibility. This is why I said I feel like we do have a responsibility at this school, and it's a lot of pressure, because we have to not just be happy with the name change. We have to really dig in and change everybody's mindset, the culture at the school, the mindset, the focus, the community. Like, now when you hear the name, I don't want y'all just getting hyped because now we John R. Lewis. Yo, like y'all said, we got dope students at the school. We got great student and faculty. Our faculty members are very diverse. We got white, Black, Spanish, everything going on in our school. But y'all got to come and see that. Don't just look at our name. Come see exactly what goes on behind these doors. And I think that's going to be a huge and important thing that we have to carry, and we got to truly dig into on a daily basis. Every time we step foot in that school, every time we represent with the apparel that we wear, or whatever the case may be, But it's so important right now. And like you said, Principal Smith, you said, we're the only school in the country. Like, I don't think y'all understand how, for me, like, that was so tough. Like, I'm working at the only school in the country with this name, and I've seen it from the bottom. Like, I played against this school. I know what Lee stood for. And now I'm here, and I'm a part of this whole change. Viola Davis gave us a shout out. Like,
I heard about that. Yeah.
I was on that thing like, I'm a coach, girl. I was hyped. Like, this is big. Like, this is really, really big. And I'm praying that everybody involved, even people who might have had pushback, understand what it now can do for these kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more. It's so much more. That name change has created and opened up so many opportunities that can really happen for the years to come. So I'm really hoping that we can do some big things. And I'll stay. I'll lock in for another year, I guess.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to have to renegotiate your contract. Thank you so much.
So, do you what was the last part that I was going to ask you? So back to that one point about attracting more people. I do, Eric, to piggyback off of you too. I actually do believe that name, our name change, did attract more people, because I've been here. This is going to be my fourth year coaching.
4 years already.
And my first 3 years, when I would put out plugs for coaches, I literally 1, 2, maybe if I'm lucky 3. These past 4 months alone, like, John James keeps sending me stuff like, got another coach interested. And I'm like, what is happening? Oh, we changed our name. Oh, that's all. That's all it took was to get some attraction. So I definitely think that this name it's super dope.
I'm excited. Now y'all just got to keep pulling off wins.
Yes.
In every sports arena.
Yes.
Academically, y'all can get it done anyway. And y'all been making some progress, man, with the sports side. Ball out this year.
I'm just saying. I mean, just for everybody who's watching, yes, the women Lancers went ahead and broke a 10-year streak. We had a winning season last year. I'm just saying. I don't know if it was the coach or the players. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the new principal.
It was good.
That was good. So closing out, we definitely appreciate you guys being on and talking to us and giving the people some clarity and some insight on what's to come with John R. Lewis and how everything manifested. What's some closing lines? Anything that you guys want to close out with and let the people know for our future?
Real quick, I mean, just figure out I think everyone should study who John R. Lewis is. I mean, we read the book March, but I think people need to read his story, research his story, find out who he is, what things he passed in his position as a senator. I mean, you gotta do that, because if you don't, you're just riding the wave. And I don't want people to ride the wave. And as you see with Kimberly, she's not riding the wave; she's starting her own wave.
Yes,
we got a lot of students like her at John R. Lewis. But for everyone else, know the man. Know the man.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect segue. But before we go, please follow us at The Real Loving Basketball on Facebook, on Instagram. Been a great show.
It has been
a great show.
Anybody else want to close out? You just cut everybody off. They all have some close.
Working on that.
That's him and his transition. We have our business meetings all the time. Where first conversation is transition, honey. Let's work on transition. Miss Charity, what do you want to say?
One of the things that I always try to emphasize and that I've been doing more of is to give our students the why. And so once we started to even share within our student organizations, why is it important? Why does this name change need to happen? Because you had a lot of students in the building who don't quite understand what difference does it make.
Yes.
Why, and then the where we are now, and now to explain and bring it all together, this is why it was important for the name to change. So now you're bringing in the historical concept, but then you're also bringing in the rise to where John Lewis was.
Yeah.
From his humble beginning. So we have to follow that same map. We have to follow that same pattern, I think.
Yeah.
So giving people the why behind why something is changing and why it needed to change, and having a better understanding now puts forth, I think, a lot more motivation and pride in it all.
Yep. What about Miss Marcella?
Yes. So I was just going to say, I really feel like this time is divine intervention. So Mr. Smith came in January, which was amazing, has been amazing. We started the NAACP, first ever NAACP youth edition in Fairfax County Public Schools. We are the first to have that. We started that 2 years ago. And then we got our name changed now. So everything, it goes back again to what I said before. Everything about what we're doing, nothing of it is surface. It's all about making sure we're treating and our kids equally, our staff equally, and that we are all in it for the children, that we're all making sure they get to where they need to be in the future. I'm always about, when you come in my office, I don't want to know just what's going on in your life in that minute. Why are you distraught or happy in that moment? Right. But I want to know, how can I get you to that next step in life? And I always tell my students, it's going to take work, and like you said before, nothing comes easy. So if you want it, what is your goal and how can we help you get there? And I feel like Mr. Smith came in at the right time to help our school. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna get a little teary.
Let it out.
He's my fourth principal there. So I've seen such remarkable change in the short amount of time he's been there to really be the catalyst to make our school go to where we need it to be. So
go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Over here too.
Look, she done secured her raise for the year. You done
we negotiate her contract.
What you got?
I'm not afraid to talk about what needs to be discussed.
No, I'm serious.
You know what? Let's put this out there. Let's talk about this. And that was one of that was a turnaround point. We had a staff meeting. We were talking about the things that was the elephant in the room. You know what? We got to eat the elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he dared to do that.
Right.
So
agree. What about you, Mr. Smith? And then we're gonna end off with Miss Kimberly because she's really the highlight.
Yeah, most definitely. Yes, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, for me, the big thing for us in moving forward is we've got to continue to build bridges. I know bridges was an important part of the legacy that with Mr. Lewis. That means building connections with students, and all means all. Every single one of our students, we've got to find a way. We have a diverse staff with a lot of diverse experiences, and we've got to tap into all of that to make sure to reach our kids and to really be the type of school that where kids are proud of, and they want to come back and they want to give back and they want to figure out, hey, how can I build a bridge in somebody else's life to connect them to their destiny and their future. So it's an important time. I know I miss the face-to-face with kids. I get a lot of my energy there, as we're doing a lot, with meetings and whatnot. I miss the high fives. I miss the fist bumps. I miss just giving back. So we're leading in the midst of a pandemic, and we're going to lead, and we're going to be as effective as humanly possible doing that. And we'll look forward to the day we can reconnect with our students and take this thing to another level.
Yeah,
it's awesome, definitely. And then Miss Kimberly, last but not least, what you got, baby girl? This was all for you. We did this for all you and your peers.
I think to leave off. I think every single time I tell people, I tell my fellow students to expect nothing less than what you deserve. Because I know a lot of times, growing up, a lot of times I'll be like, oh no, this is what you get. And I'm like, but I deserve this. And in terms of that, I know it's difficult. And a lot of people, this past year when I was on the school board and talking, I was doing a whole lot of talking in front of a whole lot of people. And people were like, Kim, I wish I could be like that, but it's scary. And I'm like, it is scary. I'm admit it is scary. Every single time that people would think like, Kim, you do it so easily. Every single time I speak in front of people, I'm terrified. It's scary to me. And I'm telling people that because it makes it more real. It makes me like, I feel as if I'm being honest with people. But one thing that I always tell people, like, I remember when I first met Mr. Smith, I didn't know that he applied for the job. He didn't know I went to Lewis, and we were just at the same event, and we was just sitting next to each other. And I was there to for an induction ceremony for the school's National Honor Society. So I was speaking. So what I said, I think the biggest thing that I said to the students was that the teachers, the staff, the school board, they work for us. You know, they all work for us, the students. And I need them to remember that, because when it comes to things that we deserve, I remember that all of them, they got these jobs because of us. They're here for us. So it may be scary. It may be like difficult. Like, I don't want to go challenge this. Well, I'm like, well, it's for us. I'm going to go get what I'm deserved. So that's what I always remember when when things get scary, when things get kind of tough, because it is tough. I'm not going to lie, it is tough. But always remembering that when it comes to things like that and what you deserve, if you deserve it, we should be able to get it.
That's awesome. What's one thing you need your community to, you would like your community to do? If you could ask one thing right now, what would you like them to do?
Right now?
Yes.
Wear a mask. I want to go to school.
Right.
Amen.
Okay, what's number two?
Number two, just, you know, if there's something that you don't like agree with, don't be afraid to like challenge it. You know, everything's, of course, not like an argument. Like, I always try to challenge things in conversation. If there's something that I did that a lot during the school board, and it was like, whenever something I'm like, I didn't agree or I didn't understand. If I don't understand something, I'm just tell me more about it so I do understand.
Yeah.
So having that discourse on a daily basis, not like having it every once in a while, having it daily is really important.
Agreed. Well, we hope that you guys enjoyed this interview as much as we did. And for everybody who was watching, we truly hope that you guys can walk away knowing more about John R. Lewis High School and the faculty and staff that's in the body. For me, my plea is that there's a lot of people, I would love for people to contribute to the school, whether your time, whether your funds, contribute to our school. We need all the help that we can get, and we love to support, to get our communities to support us, because in turn we'll do the same. So please come out, support our schools, support our students, come to games, come to theaters, shows, and stuff like that. And if you don't have the time, but you got the funds, we always like money too. Kind that change with a little jingle to the kind that folds up. So it's all good either way. But we definitely are excited about our future. And I mean, with the name change, I got to piggyback off what Deion Sanders says when he said, when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you pay good, you play good. And then what do they do when you play good? They pay good. So hopefully the name change will get all of that good stuff going for us. But we're going to go ahead and close out with this clip from John Lewis. And then we will see you guys next week, 7 o'clock. Same station right here at the Real 11 Basketball.
Thank you for having us.
There was something deep down within me, moving me, that I could no longer be satisfied or go along with an evil system, that I had to be maladjusted to it. And in spite of all of this, I had to keep loving the people who denied me service.
We knew that we were sticking our necks out to realize that you could get blind or your teeth could get knocked out.
We had to make the point that sometimes you have to put yourself in harm's way. And in the process, you may stir up some violence, but you would not engage in the violence. We were attacked. People were beaten, lighted cigarettes put out down people's back, poured ketchup and hot sauce on people. Police officials came in and arrested all of us. Holding my head high, I felt so free. I felt liberated. I felt like I crossed over.
Are we back?
Thank you, guys.